We pull no punches. Press the button, subscribe.
Fight fans, welcome. After being at Wembley Stadium on Saturday night, witnessing a true brilliant performance of one of the greats from Alexander Usyk, I've got the returning guest, Rob, boxing through. No better guest to get back on. How you doing, Rob?
Yeah, all good, mate. Thanks for having me. Good to see you Saturday, mate. I know we sort of speak a lot, on Twitter or the odd message here and there. But yeah, it's good to meet up with a gang, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Me, you, Steve, Alex, Hawkan. There was loads of us, wasn't there? It was great.
Yeah, really, really good. And it lived up, didn't it, in the end after the undercard? So
It certainly did. We will get into that, and it's just it's sort of like it was like sort of having a holiday. You come back to reality, the working week, and I'm like, I want to go back and relive that again.
I
That's
know.
how I did feel like that, didn't it?
Yeah, that train journey home on Sunday on my own was not fun.
Well, luckily I got a lift back on that night, so I think I was back home about 10, 20 past 2, something like that. So
Pretty good. That is pretty good.
yeah, not horrifically bad. The park on my drive thing works a treat, but we won't advertise that now.
So much money. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Good.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So let's we'll get into about the fight in a bit, but quick mention to start. After the fight, Dubois loses, he gets stopped. More drama has unfolded this week. Footage has emerged of Daniel Dubois before going to Wembley Stadium, having what is deemed to be a party with over 70 people at Dubois' house. And he turned up at Wembley around 20 past 8, which was less than 90 minutes before the ring walk. What is your opinion on this utter madness?
Well, before all this come out, I remember when we were sat there and it come up on the big screen, Dubois arriving, like they build it up through the night. And I thought it was a bit weird because like they'd already shown Usyk ages before that in his dressing room, just chilling. I think he might have been reading a Bible. I might be wrong, but just chilling out, complete relaxed, And in hindsight now, it just blows my mind that not just Dubois, because it might not have been him that initiated all this. It's the people around him. Like, what trainer, father, team member would allow 70 people to some big house? I don't know if it was his house or a hired sort of property. People he doesn't know. Like, it just blows my mind. And the fact that Dubois had to get out of there and go for a drive, like, why is anything else on that guy's mind other than fighting the pound for pound number one in a couple of hours? It just, I beggars belief. What were your thoughts when it come out?
I honestly could not believe it. I mean, I've seen since Don Charles as well on TalkSport, where he pretty much said, well, we done the same thing before the AJ fight and it worked. So, in a roundabout way, why should we have changed that?
But he
Um,
wasn't there. That's the
it,
thing. He was justifying
he,
something he wasn't even
yeah,
attending.
he admitted, he said, I wasn't there and I wasn't for the AJ one, but he said, like, I did want to, I was happy for it to go ahead type thing. I think it's utter insanity. In my eyes, you're going for undisputed. Your mind should be fully focused on the job. You would never see these stories from Alexander Usyk's camp. Um, and a
Any
little,
camp.
well, yeah, exactly that. And I mean, I just look at, I can't actually imagine Daniel Dubois having a full-on party. He just doesn't seem that guy to me. He's not really in the boxing world who's someone I choose to go to a party with anyway, Daniel
No,
Dubois.
no.
Um, but yeah, it's utter madness. Now, I think what they need to do, I mean, Don Charles said that we've got a meeting with Frank Warren. We'll pretty much be read the riot act and we'll see what happens. But it will be interesting to see what will come out after that. We haven't heard, as it stands at the moment, from Daniel Dubois. It's insane for me. I cannot believe it. I
I
mean,
still can't believe it. Yeah.
it's madness. I mean, that guy as well that's doing the photography and the videos of him dancing and Daniel Dubois there. In all honesty, Daniel Dubois looks uncomfortable to me.
Very, very. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks uncomfortable. So I don't necessarily think it's what he wants. I think it's the anger's on, which is AJ's had it before. You get this bullshit in boxing where you have these hangers on that will be great while you're successful. When you're not, they'll be gone out the door.
Well, did you see the comment from one of the lads who was there?
Yes, I did on social media.
Absolute terrible. So he's posted a picture at this party with Dubois. You know, you are right, Klingons. That he just wanted the photo to put on the gram. Do you know what I mean? And then the same account replied to a comment after the fight, basically talking about Dubois' heart or chin or
His chin, I
something,
think it was.
something like that. Yeah, and I thought, you shithouse, like you were okay to take the invite to go and you know, get your photo on Instagram. I just thought, you little shithouse, to then call this guy out. And it doesn't matter if, you know, we'll get onto it, whether he quit, he didn't quit. That guy's just fought, you know, for undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, and he gave up his time for you, rightly or wrongly, and you do that. I just thought, you scumbag.
Yeah, and that's what you get. Like I say, he's lost the fight. They're sort of like drifting off straight away.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you. I think going forward, it's all got to be analysed. The camp, obviously, he's trying to Don Charles. It'd be interesting to see what goes forward now after the meeting with Frank Warren and the team. Let's see what Daniel Dubois comes back to do as well. Obviously, he'll have a big rest now. As regards the fight itself, do you believe that Daniel Dubois quit? Obviously, there's been a lot of social media about it this week, lots of interviews about it. Do you believe that Daniel Dubois did choke it on this fight?
Not as much as I did on the first one. I think it's harsh this time to label that he quit for a couple of reasons, really. I mean, first of all, in the first fight, he took the first opportunity out that he got, and it was off a jab, and he knew he was down on the cards. He'd sort of, you know, his soul had been broken by Usyk in the first fight. This time, when he got dropped the first time, I was sat with Alex, and Alex heard me say it. I went, get up, because I just thought, you're going to get absolutely crucified if you don't get up again, because it wasn't the biggest shot in the world.
No,
it
it
was
wasn't.
accumulation, and he was tired. And I thought, you are done if in the media, on dickheads like us on Twitter, you are done if you don't. And I said, get up. And when he did, I said, fucking well done, because he got up quite easy as well. Then he was like 7 or 8, and he was ready to go. He showed the ref his gloves, and he knew what was coming, but he still got up and faced it. Second one, he just got caught with a really good shot when he was tired, and yeah, he was looking to his corner, but like, you put a good video up that did some good numbers this week, and it was showing that the towel did go in, and people don't look at that. And if a towel's gone in and the corner is saying, nah, you're done, mate, that's not quitting. Quitting is when you find a way out, and he had the opportunity to do that about 20 seconds earlier. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. What do you think?
Well, for me, on the night, I looked at it and I thought, there's no way he's quit here. But then when I have seen some of the video footage after, like, I don't think he's necessarily quit, but I do think that he would have been stopped after. And my question about it is, he's with people. Do you want him to be hospitalised? Because there's no way he'd have stood up after that. He'd have been absolutely sparked out cold.
Yeah.
I do think at times his body language was a little bit off. I thought when he went back to the corner, looking at the ground, like not really listening. You know, he's got a lot of ears in that corner. That's been analysed as well. Don Charles isn't just speaking to him; his dad's shouting. I didn't think the body language was great. Like for him to listen to all these people shouting. I don't necessarily believe he quit. I don't like that word for this fight. I agree. The first one, absolutely. This one, I don't think he necessarily quit. I just think he was done. I think he'd had enough. Some people go, oh, if he had enough, he quit. I just think he'd have been sparked out straight away after. And it depends. We all love the brutality of boxing. We all love a brutal fight, a bloodbath as such. But I think he'd have been absolutely sparked out straight after that. After that punt, like if he'd have got up and gone again, I think he'd have been absolutely gone. So that's where I stand on it, and I think it's a bit unfair. I mean, that short you're on about that I put up on my channel, most people, I'd say 90% of people are saying to me, he quit.
Even with the towel, yeah.
Yeah, even the towel, yeah, saying he quit. But I don't.
There's a lot of haters, isn't there? There
certainly is. So there's a lot of haters, and we've got a very big thing in this country. We love a downfall, don't we? We love it when someone's been on the top and they drop down again. Whereas I just look at it, it was a bad performance as much as Usyk was absolutely brilliant. He can come again. He's 27. He come up against an all-time great, in my opinion. He'd had enough. If he'd have carried on, he'd have been sparked out. Some people say, oh, he should have gone out on his shield. But could he have really gone out on his shield? He did walk back to the...
He kind of did. He got up, didn't he, from the first carry? It was sort of in between going out on your shield and being, let out of it. I just thought he looked really stiff at the end of round 4. He went back to his corner. He looked ploddy. He looked like he completely knew what was going on. And I said to Alex, he looks very square, very stiff, and that is the worst combination. And then he threw that really lazy overhand right, just looking for the big one, that 1 in a million punch, and how easy to do is to get out of the way and then just see you later. It's so good.
Absolutely fantastic punch. That was the perfect punch to end that fight. But yeah, I definitely agree. He was leggy. He was starting to gas as well. He's got to work on a lot of these things. He's still 27. He can come back. He can work on things, but he come up against an all-time great who he's just beating them all. So no sort of shame in it. There's lots of analysis to be done in the corner with who's saying what. All the crap before with this Partygate stuff, that's got to all be looked at. So there's a lot to be done with Team Daniel Dubois going forward. But we've also got a lot of other heavyweights waiting in the wings. We've got Joseph Parker, who is now the WBO mandatory. He's the WBO interim champion. It looks like they have ordered this fight. It was originally ordered for March, but allowed Usyk versus Dubois 2 to take place for Undisputed. What's your opinions on Usyk versus Parker as a fight?
Well, first of all, it has to happen, regardless whether people like it or not, or if it's exciting enough for you. But he's more than weighted. There's so many factors with Parker. Like, one, the improvement, the run he's been on, the momentum that he's got from the victories he's picked up. The ranking, what's the point of building yourself to a mandatory position if you're not going to get your shot once the order comes around? And, luckily for him, WBO's next. He lost out last minute to a chance at Dubois' IBF because Dubois fell ill, and to this day, no one's explained why that happened. And he sort of stepped aside to allow the Undisputed fight. So if that doesn't all add up to you are next, I don't know what does. I've read this thing today about the Ring, who are talking on behalf of Riyadh season now, which is fucking weird because both of them are run by Turki Al Sheikh. So
yeah, I know.
Saying they're not interested, well, fine. Someone else will put it on. Like, it'll go to Persfigs. Like, Queensbury put on a really good main event of a weekend, and Riyadh season wasn't plastered all over it. And Turki Al Sheikh wasn't at the front of our screen for half the footage, so it can be done. Sorry, I'm ranting a little bit, mate, but your question, it has to be next, doesn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I was also pleased that there was no big pillars in the corner, so I could see properly as well.
yeah, it was like little ladders instead, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was all right. Well, I was going to say about the Ring magazine have said that Riyadh Season and Sella are not interested in making this fight, so this means that Queensbury could be footing the bill completely. I mean, we haven't talked about the dog shit undercard that we watched, so we won't go on to that. But obviously, it does mean when you have a main event like that, the undercard with what's available financially can suffer a little bit. Some of the fights should have been better than what they were. But Frank Warren has said he'd like to do that fight in the UK. What's your thoughts on this? Do you think it sells? And do you think it's a stadium fight? And if it's a stadium fight, where do you think they will go for it?
It's a great question. You didn't write that one down for me, did you? No, that's a really good question because I was stunned that at the atmosphere and the not necessarily the atmosphere, but certainly the the number of the crowd at the weekend. For it's probably the first time since Froch Groves that Wembley's been full without AJ or Fury. I know Tottenham did well with Ben and Eubank, but aside from that, it's all been a Joshua or Fury on the card, hasn't it? On main eventing. So that was stunning. can they replicate that with two? You know, let's be honest, they're both loved here, but they're both from overseas, two overseas fighters. I think it'd do very well, but I don't think it'd sell out Wembley.
I think that's too much to ask.
Tottenham, would it sell out? I don't think it'd sell out any of them, you know, unless you go in a real sort of mediocre level stadium, but then it takes away the prestige, doesn't it? So it's too big for the O2.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So you probably just do it, and I don't know, Queensbury might do their bollocks on it and not make too much money, but fair's fair. And you know, this thing with Ring and Riyadh season today, I did put a thing out. I was a bit vocal about it, but it's disgusting.
Yeah, I agree.
How can you say it's fair enough saying you're not interested, but then don't sort of pin your labels on it, because that guy definitely deserves a shot. And yeah, like I said, it's got to happen. Where does sport for me is all about merit. You work your way up the rankings, whatever, you know. If it's football, you know, you get promoted because you finish top of the league. You get relegated because you shit. Trust me, I know that following Shrewsbury Town. And you know, it's the same. Like, what happened to building up your ranking, getting a mandatory shot and a shot of a champion? I don't get it anymore. And it's not like Parker's a boring fighter either. I know. Turkey's, you know, he's playing that Tom and Jerry card about he doesn't want people running around the ring, and I get that to an extent, but fucking hell, Parker's not like that. He's going to stand there in the middle with him, isn't he?
I agree with you. The newer Josie Parker, I think in the past he's been a little bit guilty of coasting through a fight, not putting his foot on the gas. He's a change now under Andy Lee, so that point for me is, yeah, he's a different fighter now, and he's totally deserving. He's the next one that should be in line. It looks like that is going to be the plan. The fight the weekend, there was lots and lots of Ukrainian fans in that stadium, rightly so, for Usyk.
It's class, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. The atmosphere was brilliant. Could you argue a case that possibly Joseph Parker could be a more popular fighter than Dubois? Or no?
As popular?
What I mean is, in the UK, do you think that Joseph Parker could get as good a following as Daniel Dubois?
Possibly. He's fought, well, probably not as many Brits as Usyk has, but he's been here a lot, hasn't he? And he's fought a lot, so he's very, very well known here, respected. You see it when he's at these fights, he gets mobbed. He's always on the British media. He was on TalkSport the other day about Partygate, and yeah, I really like him. And he's like really funny, isn't he? Some of the videos he posts on social media calling fighters out. It really, really likable. So yeah, I think he will get a lot of support. I think it would get dwarfed by the support for Usyk. I mean, at the weekend, you know, Dubois got a really good reception, but it was like he was fighting AJ, wasn't it? Like it was. I mean, you went to the AJ fight. You know, would you say the atmosphere was more split than it was on Saturday for Usyk and Dubois?
AJ Usyk, I'd say it was 90% AJ.
There you go. So it's probably 20 the weekend, wasn't it? Which is still, for an overseas fighter against the Brit, like that is the power of Usyk, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely getting a huge following in the UK. That was for sure. I was actually, I mean, even though he's the undisputed champion now, I was shocked how many Ukrainians were in that stadium. But it was brilliant to see.
So good, yeah.
And don't forget as well, Joseph Parker. I know, albeit he was fighting Anthony Joshua, I think that's still the highest grossing pay-per-view here in the UK as well.
Wow,
I think it done the highest pay-per-view, and I think it still stands as well.
Yeah, that was off the back of. I mean, Joshua was flying, and when he beat Klitschko, Povetkin, and I think that was the next fight after, wasn't it? The first unification. So yeah,
it was
big numbers. Yeah,
it was massive numbers. So let's see what happens. It is looking like that is the plan. There is also options that Usyk could vacate, possibly. It depends whether big money offers come in for the Tyson Fury 3 fight, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
Another heavyweight on the fringes is Agit Kabayel, but I believe the plan is for him to have a homecoming in Germany. He's the WBC interim champion. He's also signed by Queensbury. I mean, with a homecoming in Germany, what kind of opponent would you be expecting for him?
I think it'd be silly to give him a gimme after the run he's been on, because it's not Well, unless they treat it as a keep busy fight, but it was what Sanchez. That was a really good win, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
And obviously Zhang. I mean, the Zhang myth, the mythology around him sort of gone away a bit, but it was still a really good win. And he dealt with Zhang better than anybody, didn't he?
He dealt with him better than Parker.
A lot better, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's probably more dangerous than Parker.
I agree.
But again, I wouldn't say he deserves a shot as much as Parker does for the reasons we mentioned earlier. But yeah, I think there's a number of fighters that he could go in with and not consider it a gimme. Someone like Martin Bakole. He's on the lips of a lot of people at the minute, and you've got. I'm just thinking from a British point of view. You've got a few Brits who've just broken into heavyweights. You've got a Coley one at the weekend. If he recovers well,
Long time out though for him now. Looks like
it is. Yeah, you got like people like Riakporhe, Jared Anderson.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think we've also got like the likes of Michael Hunter that are waiting for
Yeah,
fights. Effie
yeah,
Jagber, obviously, who had that draw with Martin Bakole. I have actually I've put down Martin Bakole myself.
yeah.
So there is
Hrgovic, yeah.
Hrgovic, well, he's fighting Adelaide, isn't he?
Oh, of course, yeah,
So
yeah,
he's out of the running that. But there is 3 or 4 potential good opponents that are in the top 20 that
yeah.
you can have for the homecoming. A quick word on Kabayel. I think he's the most dangerous man to Alexander Usyk. I think skill-wise and his work to the body is the man that can trouble Usyk the most. I
Yeah.
don't think he can beat him. I think Usyk will retire undefeated. But I think he's the man that will most trouble, that will create the most trouble for Alexander Usyk by far. I really do. Do you think he will?
Yeah, yeah, he's. I think Parker is a tougher fight for Usyk. I
Oh,
still
really?
think that. Yeah, I still think that just because of his style, and experience counts for a lot as well. I think the experience of Parker. He's been around, 8-9 years now, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
Fought bigger names than Kabayel has, but that's taking nothing away from Kabayel. I mean, he's come from absolutely nowhere, hasn't he? Really, in the last 18 months, certainly into the mainstream. These, say what you want about these Saudi Arabia cars, but they've helped him no end, haven't they? To get into people's minds. So yeah, really dangerous. I would love to see something. It won't. They won't. They'd never make it in a million years right now. But I'd love to see how like someone like Moses Itauma would get on at the moment against someone like Kabayel. That not that elite level, but like someone who's beneath, Usyk, Fury, that level, and see how he gets on. But it's just too soon. But yeah, I rate him really highly. I think he beat most of those names that we've pitched as well.
Who, Kabayel or Itauma?
Kabayel, like
I was
taking
gonna
the timer out of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But those names we've mentioned there as potential homecoming
Yeah, for Kabayel.
opponents, yeah, I would pick Kabayel against most of them, yeah.
I definitely would. And yeah, I think he's the most dangerous. I just think he's very, very skillful. And I think in the past, he's been guilty of, a bit like Joseph Parker, not putting his foot on the gas. I think he coasted to a unanimous win over Kevin Johnson. I mean, and then he goes and stops Matt Mudam. He stops Zhang and he stops Sanchez. I feel like when he's been catapulted onto the big stage, that's when he's really showed his true
Yeah.
potential and wanted to really, really make a statement. Whereas I think in the past, he's just sort of just got the W, not really many eyes on it. So I think that's what he's done. But I really, really am excited for him.
Another one,
Uh,
Andy Ruiz would be a good one as well.
for Kabayel.
Yeah,
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 great fight.
mm,
Stylistically, that would be a very, very good watch because they
yeah.
both come forward, both got fast hands. Yeah, that would be a brilliant watch. Oh, we need to put that one to Frank Warren so we can get that sorted.
We'll take the commish.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, where does this leave the Gypsy King Tyson Fury? We
He's
saw.
retired, isn't he?
Well, I was coming to that. We saw after the fight of Usyk Dubois, he was out running. He weren't at the stadium. We all know that he won the first 2. He's been shafted. I think he said, I've been shafted without the Vaseline or some shit like that, he said. So Tyson Fury, so you're saying about he's retired. He's still saying he is, but I also saw an interview with him, a clip of if a big name wants it, which was, I think he named Dubois, Joshua and Usyk, he's willing to come back to fight them. What do you think we see? He's saying he's out till 2026 for definite. What do you think we see for Tyson Fury next?
Well, he definitely fights again. I've always thought that. For me, I've always considered the 6 month layoff between fights for fighters, that's not retirement, is it? So I've always sort of took what he said with a pinch of salt. Do you know what? One day he will properly retire, and I won't believe it until maybe 3-4 years later. But yeah, but of course, there's big fights. I mean, it's for me, it's still got to be the AJ fight. Dubois, the Fury Dubois fight is now pointless because Dubois brings nothing to the table. And what does if Dubois goes into a Fury fight? I mean, off the back of that, what can Dubois really gain there, really, than maybe hoping to clock Fury, which no one's done yet? So I don't know. The Usyk trilogy is just that would be a money grab from his mate Turkey because
That's a red cross over that one for me. I don't want to see it.
yeah, I just
It's
don't
2-0. It's
understand.
pointless.
Yeah, I know, and I've said a few times online, like I know it's tongue in cheek most of the time, but this guy could be 0-9 against Usyk, be completely outclassed every time, and he'll still want that one win to claim he's the best of a generation. Just accept that he's got your number. Like there's no disgrace in that. He's still an unbelievable fighter, probably the best British fighter of the last 20 years, or certainly in the mix, and.
Mm.
I just don't think he can cope in his mind that this guy beat him. I mean, I put that clip back out the other day about him using the Ukraine war as a reason why the judges gave Usyk the first.
Oh,
Like,
God.
that's fucking disgusting, isn't it?
I know,
Like,
he's an idiot.
how can you imagine if Anthony Joshua or Dillian White, any of these other British fighters have come out with something like that? Like, he just comes out with so many things like that. It's almost like, oh, it's Tyson Fury. Well, like, you can't say things like that. But for some reason, he gets away with it, and people fall for it. But yeah, it's I'd be happy to never see him in the ring again for several reasons. The bullshit that comes with it.
I agree.
I just hope he stays healthy if he stays in retirement, because the one thing I have always, I know I knock him, but the mental health thing is serious, and if he does knock it on the head, I hope he stays in the sport to some extent, because someone who's, if they've struggled at that level with their mental health, like he needs to stay involved, because it would be a worry, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm actually happy if he comes back to the sport. It's no skin off my nose. I'll be happy to see him. He's a character.
Yeah.
Just don't give me Usyk Fury 3. It's 2-0. It's not needed. Like you say, what are we wanting to get a 2-1, then get a 2-2? We have a decider at fight 5. It's
What does Usyk
2-0.
decide? Yeah, what does Usyk gain from it other than a couple of
Exactly.
overs on his bank balance? Like, you could ruin that that potential record as well. I don't get it.
But this is where it worries me with Riyadh season, saying they don't want to be involved with Parker and
Yeah,
Usyk.
I know.
But are they going to try and do this? But if Turkey has said that if we have Fury AJ next, he wants them both. Well, not next, in the future. He wants them both to have a tune-up fight first, so they can both get a win to sell that fight. Let's see what type of opponents they got. They're both coming off the back of losses. Fury twice to Usyk. AJ was sparked bad by Dubois. They've got to tread careful what kind of opponent they have as a tune-up fight
Hang
for
on.
both
So
of them.
I've missed this. So Turkey Al Sheikh said that Joshua and Fury need a tune-up fight to get a win before to sell the Joshua Fury fight.
He pretty much something along the lines of they need to have a fight first because they're both coming off the back of a loss to get a win to sell the fight.
To sell the fight? Oh my god! Like, you can tell he's new to the sport. Like, sorry. Why on earth? What are you gonna do? Put him in with two sort of B-level fighters
Well,
and
exactly. It will sell Wembley anyway, won't it? We all know that.
twice, three
Yeah, no,
times.
yeah,
Oh
it
my
will
god!
sell. They don't need a win. But what are we sort of like going? Like, are we going to wait 2 years for it again? We've already waited long enough. We had the best times when it could have happened. It's gone now. John Fury said the other day, it's gone, and
Yeah.
I agree with him. But it
So
still
what
will
if-
sell. In my eyes, it still will sell. But yeah, Turkey said they'll have a fight each first. That's what he plans to do. So let's see what happens with that. The route
What if
back
one of
for
them
it.
gets beat or really hurt or
Well, it's
injured?
gone,
Like,
isn't it?
what?
It's that's what I'm saying. It's dangerous. You've got to tread very careful.
They're both
What
pushing
opponent?
40.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to tread very careful what opponent you have for each of them. But it's very interesting to see what the route back is and who they go for.
I can't
Um,
believe that, man. Honestly, I can't believe that. Like, if you spoke to Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn, like, they'd make that fight immediately. the risk of doing that and losing the big one, like to sell the fight. Oh God.
I'll actually put the tweet on the screen. It might not be the words of sell the fight, but it was
But
definitely about
paraphrasing, that's what he means.
pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
To
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Do you know what? Like
Because
he does know his stuff, but that he's got that wrong.
yeah, I totally agree. But it's going to be interesting to see the route back for AJ. He's been out a long time now.
Yeah.
Both of them have been out a long time, so perhaps they do need a tune-up fight for activity. But if
Yeah.
they're both coming off the same with inactivity, then what's really the
Brook and
issue?
Khan,
What's really the issue with both going in the ring when they do? But
especially if it's a 2-fight deal.
But I'll tell you, well, yeah, and I'll tell you what, one of the build-up fights could be for AJ, Jake Paul. Oh God, what do you think of that?
Do you want me to stay on this session? What the hell?
I
Oh my
know.
goodness. The thing, AJ, like, if you think what he did to Francis Ngannou, like, it would be tenfold on Jake Paul. Like, part of me, the sadistic side of me thinks, do it,
Yeah,
because it would end the whole circus that is Jake Paul thinking he's elite level fighter. Like, you know, and he wanted to fight Usyk. Like, oh my
I
God, I
know.
can't, like, Usyk has beaten Tyson Fury twice, Dubois twice, AJ twice. Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury.
I know. And
Like
then
I just the levels, I
yeah,
can't,
totally agree.
can't. It's like me expecting to go and play for Man United tonight. Like, and he believes it. That's the crazy thing. I don't. He's a brilliant salesman, Jake Paul. Like what he's done for the women's game, fucking brilliant. Like promotion wise, but he's not an elite level fighter, and
Yeah,
his knowledge of the men's game doesn't seem great either. Because how can you call out Alexander Usyk, who's undisputed heavyweight, and then Javante Davis, who's like stones and stones and
yeah.
stones lighter? Like it's just lack of knowledge. But oh man, it just boils my piss every time I see his little hairy face on my screen. To be honest, but
What about that as well? Like you say, Jake Paul, great salesman, but he gets invited to the ring with the undisputed world heavyweight champion to have a face off with him. The total disrespect of that was
terrible,
awful.
terrible.
But let's see if we actually get AJ Jake Paul. It's looking like it could be in talks. Frank Warren made me laugh. I saw a little clip where he said, "You can't rule Jake Paul out. You can't rule him out." And I'm like, please don't
I'm
stop.
joking. Like
Frank Warren will
he doesn't
have.
believe that. He doesn't believe that at all.
Well, I thought, like, you're not Eddie Hearn and AJ's promoter. You haven't got to sell this fight, but
No.
you can't rule him out. But
Oh my God.
let's see. But we
But
know what.
did you see what John Fury said about Joshua and I
Yeah,
won't
I did.
repeat it because it was
I did.
extremely rude, but that was so funny what he said. AJ can knock Jake
AJ,
Paul out with
yeah, that's it.
a
With
part of his body that isn't
yeah,
his fist.
I did
So
see that.
yeah. Oh fucking do you know what? I'm not John Fury's biggest fan either, but that did make me chuckle, to be fair.
Yeah, it was a brilliant clip that was. I like
Quality.
that.
Yeah.
So the last heavyweight we're going to come on to now, the young, hungry Moses Itauma, who fights Dillian White on August the 16th. I can't actually believe he's been mentioned at this stage for Usyk. Turkey
Yeah.
Al Sheikh, again, another fight he wants to make is Usyk versus Moses Itauma. I'll say this quickly. This is far, far too early to be talking about Moses Itauma fighting the undisputed world heavyweight champion. We haven't seen his chin tested. We haven't seen his stamina tested. There's so many unanswered questions. Why would you do this now? We know why he wants to do it. Don't get me wrong. It's a sort of in your mind. Oh, it's interesting. It's exciting. But let's talk about levels right now. And Turkey thinks it sells well. What's your thoughts on this?
Completely agree. I don't have much more to add to that really. Like this lad is the real deal, and but give him the time. He's what 20, just turned 20. Like like that's ridiculous. They say about heavyweights turning, going into their prime, well into their 30s. This guy's 20 years old. Like they put a lot of pressure on him early doors with the signing, saying he was going to be the youngest world heavyweight champion. That's probably not helped
Yeah,
really. But yeah, I agree. It's too soon. And even if he could go in there and clip Usyk, which is probably a 1% chance, why would you do that right now?
yeah,
Benefits nobody. Benefits no one. If he goes in there and loses to Usyk, you know he's got he's got that loss on his record, and I know it's through Usyk, but for a young lad like him, it's just pointless at the moment. You know, there's a lot of these prodigies come through, young fighters that get talked up, naming no names, and they just fall by the wayside after bad decisions in and out of a ring, bad promotion. Sometimes stylistically they don't get the opportunities. But this lad, like, he's just, I am so convinced that he's going to be multi-belt champion. It's hard to say undisputed, isn't it? Because to get undisputed is difficult nowadays. But yeah, this lad is going to be a champion for years. He's going to be pay-per-view star for us. So why ruin that now? I'll tell you one thing though. If we're talking about Jake Paul fighting Usyk, I mean, fucking hell, Moses Itauma would have 20 times the chance of beating Usyk that Jake Paul would. Just to put that into
Absolutely.
perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do agree. He is looking like a star of the future. But as I said, there is lots of unanswered questions. He's got to get through Dillian White first on pay-per-view, August the 16th in Saudi. And bear in mind, if Usyk vacated, it would be Parker versus Itauma for the WBO. I think that's the way the rankings go. So he
That's a good
could,
fight.
it's a good fight, and he could become world champion early. But let's also see what Usyk does. But yeah, I think we need to keep very, very level-headed with Itauma. We love a hype in this country. He's doing everything correct. We can't take nothing away from him, but we do need to keep level-headed. How many times do we hype people and it comes
Mm.
crashing down?
Yeah.
He needs to have the proper build-up. He's done exceptional. He's knocking everybody out, but he needs that stamina test, somebody who can take him the rounds as he goes through the division, and he needs to have his chin tested, but he's doing everything correct. But let's see what happens with Moses Itauma. I think we've covered pretty much the heavyweight landscape of where we're at now. We could have also mentioned Fabio Wardley, who is the
Mm.
WBA interim champion as well. But I don't think Fabio Wardley is quite there yet, especially after what we saw against Justice Uni. He was getting totally outboxed. He found the equaliser. But I think these guys we've mentioned today are the ones definitely on the fringes of. I mean, we've mentioned AJ and Dubois, but obviously they've had losses now. Fury's had a loss, but they are going to come back and have big fights.
Yeah.
But would you say your future star of the division would be Moses Itauma?
Without a doubt.
Out of all them guys that I've mentioned?
Can you think of anyone who's young, who's that good at that age? I can't. There's a few good lads coming through. I really like the Olympian, that Jalalov. He's not getting talked about at all. He'll be well avoided. But he's like well into his 30s already. He turned pro late. Tama's got so much time. Like, he could see the next two generations cycles of heavyweights come through. People we haven't even. Imagine in 10 years' time, he's 30. Like, there'll be a 10-year-old out there right now who will turn 20 when Atoma's champion, and like people we haven't even thought about yet, who may not have even gone into a gym yet. So that's how long he's got.
Yeah,
It's
very true.
it's going to be fun. And the one thing I would say is, heavyweight boxing, the likelihood of him ending up undefeated is slim. So let's not jump on him. If the worst happens, stick with him. And see how it goes. Just a quick one on Wardley. I agree with you. Like, you wouldn't expect him to hang with a lot of these guys that we've spoken about, but keep knocking people out. Even if you're losing the fight, you will get these opportunities. I mean, look at Deontay Wilder. He became world champion that way, didn't he?
Well, it definitely puts arses on seats as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. And if you keep knocking people out and getting yourself up the rankings, it doesn't matter if you lose 11 out of 12 rounds. If you land that shot, you will go up the rankings. So yeah, just in his defense, really. But I know what you're saying. You wouldn't expect him to come out on the positive side of a fight with a lot of these guys that we've spoken about. But it's I find him really fun to watch.
Yeah, he's definitely entertaining. Like I say, he brings that white collar background, which makes it interesting. He's not the greatest skillful boxer in the world. He admits that himself.
Yeah.
But he's always seems to get that equaliser so far. So yeah, lots of exciting times in the heavyweight division going forward. Moses Itauma could be the future pay-per-view star in this country. We always need that. The evolving times. We always need to keep having those British pay-per-view stars. Usyk is undisputed world champion. On our preview, on our preview show, you did think he would talk about wrapping it up. It doesn't look like after he got the victory, it doesn't look like he is. He's saying, "I'm just getting going at the age of 38." Brilliant times ahead still to see Usyk in some cracking fights. He always brings excitement, but this time we've seen him. I thought he had a lot more fire in his belly, a lot more bad intentions, and it was really, really exciting to watch for how long it lasted. Rob, I think we've covered the heavyweight landscape. It's been fascinating chatting with you again. Thanks for taking the time to come on my channel again, mate.
No worries. Again, good to see you Saturday, mate. We won't leave it so long next time. If when there's a show in the Midlands, Telford, Wolves, Birmingham, whatever, we'll sort it out. We'll go for a coffee.
Absolutely, mate. I'll definitely take you up on that. And if anyone watching agrees with us, disagrees with us, I'm open to all feedback. It's not a problem. If you don't agree with us, that's absolutely fine. Let us know.
I'm not of that. If you don't agree with me, I'd rather not hear it. So.
Brilliant. Yeah, if you drop your reactions in the comments section, much appreciated. Thanks to the new subscribers. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks to everyone for all the support on my channel. This has been the Heavyweight Landscape with Rob Boxing Shrew. See you next time.